I love people who succeed when they've been doubted. My wife always jokes, she says, Colin, you're very balanced. You have a chip on both shoulders. I love people who are doubted. Last night was a classic NFL game where it was Alex Smith, who everybody's doubted, and Kirk Cousins, who even his own team doubts, and they put on a show last night. That was one of the best Monday Night Football games I've seen in years. And it was Alex Smith, who nobody believes in. And it's Kirk Cousins, who nobody believes in. Listen, I tell my kids, you should tell your kids, look at your life. Almost none of us could make it on our own. We needed somebody to believe in us. And there's nothing but snarkiness and critics and cynics out there. So don't let people discourage you. Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins wouldn't let people discourage them. They believed in themselves. But I want to segue, and by the way, I've been saying this now for 2 years. Kirk Cousins is a franchise quarterback. Now, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but there are levels of franchise quarterback. Not every company is Amazon. There's all sorts of companies that aren't 1/8 the size of Amazon. Kirk Cousins can run, makes beautiful throws, has a good enough arm, is coachable as heck, and is really got some nice leadership qualities. He's a go-getter. He wasn't in college. He is in the pros. But let me segue to this. Speaking of people who doubt people, I want to talk about the city of Philadelphia for 3 minutes, which has to be the dumbest sports city in America because they ran Andy Reid out of town. This is amazing. Andy Reid's won 60% of his NFL games with average to below average quarterbacks. Nobody's done that in 20 years. He got to 5 NFC championships and a Super Bowl with a quarterback with an 85 passer rating in his career and a 59% completion ratio, Donovan McNabb. Nobody does that. Andy Reid has won 61% of his games. That's better than Mike Holmgren, who had a Hall of Fame quarterback or two. Bill Parcells, Tom Coughlin. It's even with a legend, Tom Landry. But Andy Reid got run out of Philadelphia. Now think about that. He won 4 straight NFC championships. Aaron Rodgers, with a great coach, with a good GM, in a weaker division. Aaron Rodgers, 8 years, 3 NFC championships. And he went to 5. Andy Reid was bum rushed out of Philadelphia. By the way, 19 years coaching, 16 non-losing seasons with average quarterbacks. He single-handedly resurrected Michael Vick's career. He single-handedly resurrected Alex Smith's career. San Francisco kicked Alex Smith out of town. Who does that? Winning with average quarterbacks. Joe Gibbs, about the only one I can think of, and he's called a legend. But this is what Philadelphia does. The Phillies had Terry Francona. They ran him out of town. He's the best manager in baseball. He wins everywhere. Since leaving Philadelphia, Terry Francona has been managing 14 years. He's never had a losing record. Do you get how hard that is? Oh, they did it with Jay Wright at Villanova. Rolly Massimino won a national championship. They gave the job to Jay Wright. He's won 71% of his games. In the last 3 years, he's the winningest program in college basketball. It's got tough academics. It's not big and large and profound like North Carolina. It's a small private school in Philadelphia, which has a number of good college basketball programs in the region. And they've been on Jay Wright before he won that title for years. Are you people crazy? You ran Andy Reid out of town. You ran Terry Francona out of town. Jay Wright's one of the top 5 coaches in college basketball. You're on him constantly. By the way, Philly was originally the nation's capital, and you blew that too. Yeah, late 1700s. You probably ran George Washington out of town. I'm sorry. Andy Reid's been in the sport 20 years. He's winning more than Holmgren, Parcells, and Coughlin. Run out of town. Resurrecting careers. Maybe Philly fans are so dopey, they just don't like the word read. They don't like to read. I don't know what it is. But you cheered Michael Irvin's career-ending injury. I can't trust a fan base that has a courtroom and a jail under their stadium. But do you get and appreciate how good Francona, Jay Wright, and Andy Reid are? He's doing what nobody can do in football. Win with quarterbacks people don't want. It's incredible, and they're the best team in the NFL. They are. This almost never happens in sports. This weekend in the NFL, think about this. The games that will truly reshape this league involve all the crappy teams. The Jets are at Cleveland. The 49ers are at the Colts. The winless Chargers at the winless Giants. Now, Indianapolis is bad, and they're playing San Francisco, but Andrew Luck will come back in the second half of the season. They'll win games. They're not going to get a number 1 or number 2 pick. I don't think the Chargers and Giants will get a number 1 or number 2 pick because they've come close to winning several games. But the Jets-Browns game, you do realize if the Jets win this game, they're out of Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen sweepstakes. We thought just a month ago Buffalo would be in. Buffalo is not going to get a top 5 pick. That's a real defense. Just won in Atlanta. We thought the Jets would be in the top 5 suck for Sam Darnold team standings. They're not going to be there if they win this weekend. Cleveland and the San Francisco 49ers look right now to be overwhelming favorites to have the number 1 and number 2 picks. Okay, because the LA Chargers and the Giants are winning games, and the Colts get luck for at least 8 to 10, and they'll win games in that division. If the Jets win this weekend, they're out. Because San Francisco's not winning 3 games, and Cleveland is not winning 3 games. And so let's just put this out there. Deshaun Kaiser, the Notre Dame kid who Brian Kelly said was not ready for the NFL, is not ready for the NFL. He's bad. He leads the NFL in interceptions. He's got the lowest passer rating. He's got, I think, the lowest completion percentage. Brian Kelly said he's not ready for the NFL. He's not. So they're going to take whoever is up. Josh Rosen, UCLA, Sam Darnold, USC. Don't kid yourself. Cleveland's taking him. They're taking him. Now this is, I'll tell you something. There was a story yesterday that Sam Darnold is leaning NFL. I made 2 calls. Not true. There has been no decision made from Sam. In fact, the people at USC feel it's 50-50. They're not going to push him either way. It's up to Sam. His parents haven't made a decision. That story. If that story gets broken, I have a better chance to break it than anybody else in the American media. That doesn't mean I will, but the odds are better than I would break it. Having met the family, knowing Sam, having inroads to USC. If that story's going to be broken, there's a pretty good chance I'll be near the top of the guys breaking it. That is not true. They have not made a decision. But here's my point, and I want to make this point. If you look right now this weekend, Colts-Niners, if the Niners do not win this game, this is one of their last winnable games. San Francisco, and this is one of the last winnable games for Cleveland, they're going to have the top pick. And I'll tell you this, and I'll be totally upfront. If Sam Darnold was on the fence and Cleveland had the number 1 pick, and I talked to him, I would tell him, stay in school. This is an organization that passed on Carson Wentz, traded down, and passed on Deshaun Watson, and traded up to get Johnny Manziel. They don't know what they're doing. I would never tell my own son, go work for a really bad company that makes terrible PR decisions and personnel moves. Now, if San Francisco was the number 1 pick, playing California, Kyle Shanahan, an organization with a history of being relevant, I would tell Sam Darnold, go talk to your parents. You should go talk to your parents about that one. You guys go make a decision, but that's a long, interesting talk. Cleveland, stay in school. You're a sophomore. You're still raw. You're still, at times, a little reckless. You're going to work either way. But I believe this, and I strongly believe this. You reap what you sow. If Sam Darnold, this weekend, we're going to know by Sunday night. Because if Cleveland doesn't beat the Jets are out of it, and Cleveland does not have another game which appears to be real winnable. And if San Francisco does not beat Indianapolis, you start looking at that schedule, the Rams are a lot better than we thought. They don't have a lot of winnable games. And you're going to have Cleveland, San Francisco. And we've seen John Elway say, I'm not playing for that team. And we've seen Eli Manning say, I'm not playing for that franchise. And they both were right. This has a chance to be the 3rd time where a young college player, and I tell you this, Once you sign a paper in any business, you lose all your leverage. The minute you sign a contract, for me, you, Kristine, anybody, your leverage is done. Be careful about the contracts you sign. You have all the leverage the second before ink meets paper. So this weekend is going to reshape cities, divisions, conferences, and leagues. If the Niners don't win and the Browns don't win, you just go look at schedules. They're going to have the number 1 and 2 picks. Hi, everybody, and thanks for watching. We want you to subscribe here, to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the herd, or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First, with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.